Namaste to all students. Khushbu Bidya, myself JV Dr. Khushbu Verma from Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science. Today we are going to discuss about molecular probes. This session is related to recombinant DNA technology course of program BTech FBT 4th sem. So first of all, you have to know that what are the molecular probes. So a probe is normally a short sequence of nucleotide bases that will bind to specific regions of a target sequence of nucleotides. The degree of homology between target and probe results in a stable hybridization process. What should be the size of probe? So probes can range in size from as short as 10 nucleotide bases and molecular weight should be 3300 to as long as 10,000 bases or more. So means molecular weight max to max can exceed approximate till 33 lakhs, and the most common size range for most probes is between 1240 and 40 bases. For statistical uniqueness, a minimum of 20 nucleotide bases are usually needed for a probe. Which probe is best, short or long? So, short probes tend to hybridize nucleic acids at very high rates in minutes, whereas longer probes may require reaction times of hours to achieve a stable hybridization process. And short probes do have some disadvantages. They are subject to more non-specific hybridizations, are limited in specificity and are more difficult to label. Long probes hybridize more stably than short probes at high temperatures and low salt concentrations. They show the low stringency. A nucleic acid probe is a short, single-stranded molecule of radioactively labeled or fluorescently labeled DNA or RNA. Here you can understand it more by diagrammatic representation. Here you can simply see this is radioactive probe of DNA, which is showing fluorescence, and when it mix with the single stranded DNA from various bacterial or fast clones, so it will create like these three possibilities can be here, like single stranded DNAs. And on the other hand, when this radioactive probe create the base pairing with this single stranded DNA, so it indicates the gene of interest, means it will bind to our gene of interest, and at that place it will show the fluorescence, and that's how we can detect our gene of interest. Now come to the specificity. So the base sequence of the probe and the conditions under which the probe is used determine its specificity. Now come to the labeling method. So whatever label is used, it has to be attached to or incorporated into the nucleic acid probe. Here are 5 methods of labeling probes. First one is a nick translation. Second is primer extension. Third one is the RNA polymerase. Fourth is end labeling, and final fifth is direct labeling. First of all, we are going to discuss about the nick translation. It involves introducing single strand breaks, nicks by endonucleases, basically nicks created by the endonuclease enzyme in the DNA, and leaving exposed third dash hydroxyl terminal and 5 dash phosphate terminal. Nick serves as a start point for introducing new nucleotides at the third dash hydroxyl site using DNA polymerase. As a result, the nick will be moved progressively along the DNA, means translated, in the 5 to 3 direction. The synthesis reaction allows the incorporation of labeled nucleotides in the place of the previously existing unlabeled. We can understand this nick translation by diagrammatic representation. You can simply see this is the DNase 1 enzyme which will create the nick, and now These 5' to 3' exonuclease and 5' to 3' polymerase along with 4 DNTPs and E. coli DNA polymerase 1 will be involved in this reaction. Then they create the molecular probes at this particular site. So this is how nick translation occur. Based on the hybridization of a mixture of the all possible hexanucleotides. The starting DNA is denatured and then cooled slowly so that the individual hexanucleotides can bind to suitably complementary sequences within the DNA strands. DNA synthesis occurs in the presence of the four DNTPs, at least one of which has a labeled group. Again, you can understand it by label nucleotide diagrammatic representation. This is the double stranded DNA. First of all, you have to denature and then annealing has to be happen in the presence of mixture of random hexanucleotides. These are the random hexanucleotides which will bind to their complementary sequence present within the single stranded DNA molecules. Now clean out subunits of the DNA polymerase will be used along with the all four labeled nucleotides, and then these labeled nucleotides will arrange accordingly to their complementary base pairing. So that's how new DNA strands will be created with labeled nucleotides. So that's how we can detect the labeled gene sequence by this method. Based on the hybridization, next one is the primer extension. So DNA of the interest is denatured to give single strands. Random primer sequences are added or sequences unique to a particular sequence of the interest. DNA polymerase is added together with labeled nucleotides. Complementary DNA strands are synthesized starting from the primer sequences and incorporating the labeled nucleotides. There is partial filling in the gaps between the primers. DNA is then denatured to release the labeled probe molecules. You can understand this method by the diagrammatic representation. This is the double stranded DNA. First of all, denaturation and annealing process with the random primers. These are the orange color primers are the random primers. They are attached to their random complementary sequences. Now clean out fragments and exo DNTPs and labeled DNTPs will be used, and that's how new DNA strands will be created with the labeled DNTPs. And then further we go for the denaturation process and we can get the single stranded labeled DNA molecules. Next one is the end labeling of the DNA. So single-stranded oligonucleotides are usually end labeled using polynucleotide kinase, means kinase. It is also known as kinase end labeling. Label is provided in the form of a 32 phosphate at the gamma phosphate position of ATP, and the polynucleotide kinase catalyzes the exchange reaction with the 5' terminal phosphate. The same procedure can also be used for labeling double-stranded DNA. Here fragments carrying label at one and only can then be generated by cleavage at an internal restriction site, generating two differently sized fragments which can be separated by gel electrophoresis at the end of the process and further then can be purified. This process can be understand by the diagrammatic representation, or and here I am showing the diagrammatic representation. So this is DNA strand and polynucleotide kinases will be polykinase polynucleotide kinase enzyme will be used, and these are the labeled phosphate groups, and that's how this will be labeled. And then we go for the selected DNA. It is digested with the restriction and nucleases to give 5 dash overhangs. For example, in EcoR1, these are the overhangs, and then we can use that's how we can use the end labeling of the DNA molecule. And next one is the labeling of the RNA. So the preparation of labeled RNA probes, which are riboprobes, is most easily achieved by in vitro transcription of inserted DNA cloned in a suitable plasmid vector. The vector is designed so that adjacent to the multiple cloning site is a phase promoter sequence, which can be recognized by the corresponding phase RNA polymerase. By using a mix of entities, high specific activity radio labeled transcripts can be generated. Labeled sense and antisense riboprobes can be generated from any gene cloned in such vectors and are widely used in tissue in situ hybridization. Means we can use DNA template plus RNA polymerase plus labeled ribonucleotides, so it can create the labeled RNA probes. You can understand this process by this diagrammatic representation. Here you can simply see this is the sp6 transcription start site, and this is sp6 promoter, and this is plasmid sp64. So, and these are the labeled nucleotides which are going to arrange, and then you can analyze the sequence of the DNA, target DNA, and that's how this label method do help in the analysis of the nucleotide sequences. Now come to the key points of the molecular probes. So first of all, what is the definition of the molecular probes? That a probe is normally a short sequence of the nucleotides based that will bind to specific regions of a target sequence of nucleotides. And what should be the prop size? So minimum size should be 10 nucleotide bases with molecular weight of 3300, and maximum length should be 10,000 bases. And what should be the molecular weight? Highest molecular weight is 33 lakhs. And the most common size range for most props is between 14 and 40 bases. And for the statistical uniqueness, a minimum of 20 nucleotide bases are usually needed for a prop. So this is how these are the points which are very much important for the competitive exams. And one more thing, how you can do the labeling process. So there are 5 methods. First one is the nick translation, second one is the primer extension, third one is the RNA polymerase, fourth one is the end labeling, and fifth one is the direct labeling. So these are the key factors which are very much important in the context of competitive exams. And now this is the sum up of this session, and this session is powered by digital version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University Jaipur. And if you have any query, then mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you.